Je ne veux pas travailler. Je ne veux pas déjeuner. Je veux.
Welcome back to OTT Sports. I'm Michael Broughton.
And I'm Mark Panis.
And Mark, you know, we discussed at length how MediaPro backed out of the French media rights deal a few weeks back. And now we've seen their replacement. The deal's gone from $1.4 billion with MediaPro to $250 million a year with Amazon. And this is the first time Amazon is owning the primary domestic rights in a Big Five football league. You know, I'd love to get your view on this, because to me, this feels like quite a momentous moment, if perhaps not for the reasons people think.
Sure. Well, I would agree with you. It is momentous. And I'd also agree with you that it shouldn't be viewed necessarily as Amazon has stepped up and made this massive investment now at the top of the rights market to take over, lead broadcast rights for a major domestic league. The reality is it's buying at a steep discount. And if we go back over the last, 50 years, perhaps the only recession-proof product that we've had has been sports media rights. They've always escalated. We saw now the EPL's flat. France will ultimately be flat over the next 3 years. It'll be on parity, about 660 million euros, 800 million USD from its previous deal. But Amazon is buying at a tremendously steep discount, and it just speaks that there's no competition. They're not bidding against anybody to take down the League One rights.
No, and I think in the past you've seen in the US, people like the NFL and Major League Baseball have created their own networks in order to beef up competition, keep the broadcasters on their toes, and then bring in people like an Amazon. You've seen the Premier League bring them in around the Christmas package. La Liga has carved out a 20-game package that, the press are writing is specifically aimed at an Amazon. But when you have a market like France, where one of the largest competitors decides to pull out, you have a real problem. How do you fill that? And it was clear that Canal Plus didn't want to buy the whole lot. They're now threatening to pull out of their package, which is their 2 games are more expensive than the other 8 games.
Right.
So there's a lot to unpack there. But I agree with you. If it was at $1 billion, I don't think Amazon would be buying it. At 250 million, this is a beta test for them. And considering they see sport as a service, why not go in?
Yeah, and I think that's a different type of SaaS, and I think that's exactly what's going on here. So just this year alone, Amazon Web Services have now taken over the back end for the PGA Tour. Amazon's cut a deal with the NFL and Fanatics to bolster its e-commerce service. It's now using clearly the League One rights as an effort to bolster the added value aspects of its Prime service. And so sports is the through line through all of that, but it's not like the standalone ring-fenced, hey, NBC Universal, we're going to buy these rights because they are going to, bolster our entire media ecosystem. It's just they have a different long-term view and set of incentives.
Right, and I think I'd love to get your opinion, because I know you've lived in Paris. So if you think about it, the French government's not known for its love of Amazon, and there's certain rules that they put in around bookstores and other things. But given the brasserie cafe lifestyle of the French, requiring an Amazon Prime package, how is this going to be approached from a perspective of the out-of-home experience?
Well, out-of-home is to me a big piece of this right now, because certainly out-of-home rights fees that are sold off to bars and so forth for the ability to broadcast to larger audiences than just what you would have in your own living room. They tend to be fairly expensive. But now let's go out into part of the charm of France is you go out into the countryside. You're going to pull up at a brasserie or a tobacco or just a regular bar, and a couple bicycles out front, a few locals inside. The ashtrays are full. The vino's flowing, and certainly what you have is people watching local football. Okay, everyone now is going to have an Amazon Prime account pulled through on broadband. That will certainly be a sea change.
It will be, but look, I think for me, the big takeaway here is every major rights holder needs to be very focused on how do we maintain competition in our market? How do we ensure that whether it's us, whether we build our own network, whether we bring in an Amazon, whether we bring in other broadcasters, we need to maintain competition, because without it, we have some serious problems ahead of us. Anyway, thank you for watching OTT Sports. We'll see you next time we go over the top.